Aloha. I guess I gotta stay on this stream of information flow because it's all connected, and I went to search for Nassim Haramein's flat earth stuff, and I could only find him 10 months ago speaking about hollow earth, Agartha here, and basically nothing else, nothing. But I went and looked at the second video, which is I've seen a lot of Nassim stuff. I listened to a few of his like 2 or 3 hour long talks, and there was a time where I really understood and resonated with the information that was coming through in relation to like the 64 layered tetrahedron and the the science of the Merkabahs laying over themselves. And I'm feeling more and more like this is kind of like I referenced in the last video, where spirit science, or basically all of them, layer in a bit of the knowable information and resonant information with information that is compromised or set up to push another agenda. And sure enough, this video revisiting Nassim Haramein shows that that's very much the case. And I I feel a kind of certain way about it, because when I first started to research Nassim Haramein stuff, I was excited to see that he was like a scientist outside of the normal scientist. So basically, he was, now I'm seeing it as he was basically, like, at that time I was still believing in politics, or in science, as if somebody today still believes in politics as they believe in Bernie Sanders. So this is how I'm seeing like a reference to what Nassim Haramein is today in reference to like the politics and that whole thing. So Nassim Haramein is bridging the gaps between like toroidal field information and energy and understandings and quantum theories and sacred geometry, and he's mixing it all in with this like double smart science theory version of what the heliocentric model actually is, according to this new version of our space model. And I remember seeing this video going around on, and he's going to show it in this video. I remember seeing this video going around Facebook when I was on Facebook about a couple of years ago, or maybe even longer than that. But it was going around where you saw the planets going around the sun as it's moving through space or through the universe or whatever, and it's kind of like this traveling solar system version of how space is moving. He'll play it, and I'll let it play over it and just kind of like commentate with it. But I just wanted to kind of give that as a precursor to some people who haven't necessarily or heard of Nassim Haramein, but have seen that model of the solar system, and might understand, like, because I had forgotten about where that science came from. And this individual is like the outsider in the science community, so he's basically speaking about his paper. So how I'm theorizing it is that the new version of our or one possibility, because they still have the flat earth map on the United Nations. I don't know how this is all going to work, but this is just goes to show how information can be set out there and just delivered to you. And like for me, I really just an example of how this information is layered. And like for me, I really resonated with this information. I was like, man, this is on point. And then kind of like the other channeling stuff and all that other stuff, it just died out. Like it hit this wall to where I didn't have any connection. It didn't connect to spirit at all. It didn't connect to even a basic layer of understanding to where I would like share this with people. Like I openly share stuff about flat Earth and the firmament and planets and stars from a perspective of the flat Earth. Obviously, on this channel, I'm doing that because it resonates on the space to where I'm cool with it. Like this is, if I'm wrong, then I'll adjust it as I learn a deeper truth or a deeper understanding to how I perceive my reality. So this is just another example. Like this video and this stream of thought that I'm getting ready to play is just another example of how the university system as a whole, the heliocentric model as a whole, has been sold to us, and how another version of this design can be sold to us to get us in like this double layer of separation. And let's, for example purposes, just imagine that Nassim Haramein is like the next leading Einstein, and that's how I thought of him as. Like I thought of him as that like super smart dude, and he actually kind of reminded me of the smart aliens from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Like he kind of has a resemblance to the station. Yeah, those the station aliens. But his information, yeah. Anyway, I'll just play it and then commentate with it. But because I really thought of him as like a rebel outside of the science community and coming through with like sacred geometry. But now looking at it from this perspective of having a deeper connection with understanding a creator space and a purpose and a meaning that is beyond science, beyond just the geometry of it all, but having like all of it together. This looks like just another, like a dual, like the Taurus energy of a regular heliocentric model would be like the old school science, and then this is just like a dual Taurus, just like he has on there right now, a dual science, just to get us more and more stuck in like complicationville, so we can follow another version of the university system. So I'll play it and then go along with it.
Typically, and if you have children, please, if they go to school, they're all gonna get told that the solar system looks something like this. Let me try to erase this. Okay, that the solar system looks something like this.
Got that seed of life,
that
3D version Merkaba in the back.
The solar system, and in my school, we even had a little machine
he has
with
his
a little
own
thing, a little crank you spun, and the Earth.
He has his own papers. Basically, he has his own version of like all the sciences. Like he's been on the outskirts. I think his story is like he I think if I'm correctly, he was living in his car and he came up with all this science, and now he started, he got an award in the physics award or something, a leading physicist award, something like that. And then now he's been traveling and teaching and putting together all this stuff. But that's a little background.
Around the sun with the moon and everything, and So they tell you, oh yeah, that's the sun, and then the planets go around like this in an elliptical course, and depending on the interaction of all the planets, it's either elongated or more round. Or you got all the planets like this in the solar system. Well, actually, that is absolutely incorrect. Okay? The thinking of the solar system in this matter is equivalent to thinking that the Earth is flat. The solar system.
And when he said that, I was like, oh man, Nassim is going to go into some flat earth time. And then, no.
Does not behave that way at all.
Watch.
In fact, the solar system it behaves in a completely different way, since the sun is moving through space and the planets are flying around the sun, generating these huge vortices as it follows the equator of the sun.
Shit.
That is a completely
That's the
different
model
picture.
I was talking about earlier.
All right? It goes from flat to spacious, to
That's his model.
movement through space.
Super.
And that makes a big difference. All of a
Super
sudden,
Earth.
you start to see that even planetary motions,
Super
solar
universe.
motions around the galaxy, galactic motion, supercluster motion, and so on, all have this elliptical, vorticular dynamics of space. They
Elliptical,
all have this
vorticular
force
dynamics of
through
space.
And if you look at the Earth on this vortex, you could say that this is 2000, 2000 for instance, and this would be then 2000, 2001, and then this would be 2002. And
this is like doubling down
this is
on the heliocentric model.
Distance apart. Millions and millions and millions and millions of miles apart. There's nothing in there. The planets do not come back onto their path. They don't. If they did, we most likely would have the same set of information over and over and over.
See, he does speak on creation. And this is why I'm feeling more and more like this is going to be integrated somehow in the future with the evolution of the university or science community, to integrate that connection with creation, and still keep the globe model, the globe science alive.
Broken record.
Yeah, this is a broken record.
And we probably get real bored. It would be like Groundhog Year, Let's go back to the analogy of Einstein's field equation of the trampoline
So
curving
it's still
to
on
generate
the
gravity.
Einstein.
So basically, Einstein said gravity is the result of space-time curving, like the surface of a trampoline. And basically,
this is how they integrate it.
What we say in this
So
paper
this is the new Einstein.
is that yes, and when space-time curve, it doesn't just curve, but it curls, just like water going down the drain, and that generates spin, angular momentum. And that's the source of the spin of all.
So if they double down on a theory that is already based in just like liquefaction pretty much, then they could pretty much say whatever they want as long as they make it make sense. Like as long as they make it make sense. And then they have these models, pictures in the background to trigger your trust sensors, your emotional body, which is what happened to me, because I was like, oh, that's the seed of life in the Merkaba in there, and then I see that in the egg of life, and layering the Merkaba on top of itself and creating this, and it's just another version of complexity to sell a deeper program.
And that is an appropriate way to actually describe physics of angular momentum in the universe. So
This is
when
doubling down
we
on Einstein.
add torque to space-time, the solution gives us a very different picture than a perfect sphere. It generates a torus structure, okay? Which is a sphere with two holes in the middle at the north and south pole.
So this is
and because it has Coriolis forces,
okay, so
Coriolis
this
forces
is
are the forces that makes
how
water rotate in one direction
they're gonna go
in the
into
northern
the
hemisphere and in the other.
oh, this connects to the last video of the channeling where they actually talked about the extraterrestrials and the Agarthans being integrated into our civilization right before 9/11 happened with Nasara and that whole thing. The double torus version of the Earth and the Earth energies creates a hollow Earth version of our reality, scientifically observable, and this directly connects to like where these so-called extraterrestrials or these higher dimensional beings or these ancient whatever hollow earth, connecting back to Admiral Byrd and that whole stuff back there. If they just activate all this at the same time, Nassim Haramein studies could be locked in as the physiological versions of the geometric understandings, the science of how we could understand our new Earth, our new version of Earth. So that we're like a double torus hurling through space around the sun, and these are our co-pilots along with us that just haven't interacted with us, called the extraterrestrials or Agarthans, that are in the center of the dual torus Earth.
In the south hemisphere, that makes hurricanes rotate in opposite
Which
direction.
is why which is why I'll go into the next video, which is why he's speaking on Agartha in the next video.
That makes plasma dynamics on the sun rotate in opposite direction.
This was
Because
2011.
Coriolis forces were added to
The next
equation.
video
So what we did is we
was
added a
in
term for
10
torque
months ago.
and the Coriolis forces as a secondary rank tensor on the space-time manifold. The result is a double torus structure, a double torus manifold that has this dynamic, which is viewed here from above as a rotating yin-yang sign, if you'd like.
And yeah, so you end on the yin yang because you've seen the yin yang before, and yeah. Anyway, so 10 months ago is when I started to go into the flat Earth stuff naturally, and when I clicked on this video, I was hoping that he would reference something like that, but obviously not. It's called Hollow Earth Agartha. So this is where this is the angle Nassim Haramein has chosen to approach or take his science into the hollow earth theory, which is where I originally was going when I entered in the whole sacred geometry, alien, extraterrestrial world, even before flat earth was through the hollow earth. Now I'm remembering it now. So that time frame in late 2011, when I was researching hollow earth and sacred geometry and all that stuff, Nassim Haramein and that whole video of us hurling through space was also on Facebook and coming through, and it all made sense. Like, it was a storyline that makes sense at that time. And I'm guessing like this is the new version of that, or the evolution of that sort of stream of thought.
Yes, all planets emit, and in many
So I'm not gonna play this whole
the
thing
electromagnetic field.
He basically just
the sun,
backs up
for instance, the resonance frequency of the sun
what he
and
was
the
saying,
sound that it emits,
talking about resonance.
in which a small singularity is present. Yeah, that's right. I just said a small singularity.
So,
Yeah.
I'm going to play earlier.
Encounter in module 4, it has to do with matter production. They may be in the center of the earth a structure that in which a small singularity is present.
So this is basically
that's right. I just
the hollow
said a small
earth.
singularity. Yeah, a
So
small black hole.
He's formally stepping into the hollow earth theory, where there's a star, or he's saying a black hole inside the singularity, inside the center.
And the same thing for the sun, in which matter production is occurring, and so that out of the structure of the vacuum, the singularity at the center of the planetary body is actually producing energy, producing matter, and that matter is being pushed against a very large shell around it. So the hollowness of the Earth may be quite small relative to the size of the Earth, and the same thing for the Sun. But the result of the mass of the black hole in the middle and the mass of the shell is the mass of the Earth. So the Earth behaves exactly the way we see it. And so when you say...
So this is locking into, for me, in this moment, I'm seeing more and more like how in the previous video where I was talking about Bashar, and when the lady asked him about flat earth, and he says, you know it's not, or you know it's round, or, oh yeah, he said, you know it's not. And when she asked him, is it flat, and he asked, are you asking me if your earth is flat? And he said, you know it's not. So he's the channeled version to back up the space of separation, or questioning of your reality. So this new version of reality that is looking more and more like this is where they're moving towards. If this was only 10 months ago, and Nassim Haramein, he ain't going anywhere anytime soon. There's a lot of people who share and follow his information, and he's in the the newer version of the university system. He's been welcomed, so he is a piece on the board. His information is a piece on the board. So I wanted to just share this as an introduction to the possibilities of what could be, as far as the next agenda is concerned, or whatever. It's just it exists. It's information that exists, period. So I wanted to share it because I went through this myself, as far as really believing in this information and seeing how it exists with sacred geometry and aliens and all this stuff. And now recently seeing that he's linking it into Hollow Earth. So maybe this is where it's going. Anyway, I just wanted to share that and leave that out there, however it may be. So yeah, thanks for joining me. Till next time, peace, love, and harmony.